Presentation is how can artistic expression engender meaningful connections between individual and community identities in support of social change. In other words, how can art be better used to connect us to important causes in meaningful ways? And Jasmine Lambert.
Hi. So in 1986, a man named Larry Harvey brought a 9-foot wooden effigy to a summer solstice bonfire in San Francisco. What does this have to do with anything? Well, he burnt this effigy, and 30 years later, in 2015, 70,000 people continued this tradition and went to Nevada, as they do every year, to build Nevada's second largest city for a week of the year. And then they burn it down. And this event is called Burning Man. And I go there every year. I have been for 6 years. And I don't really go necessarily for the large fires or the big lights or the loud bass music, but I actually go because my community at Burning Man is some of the most important and fundamental community in my life that has actually gotten me through some of the hardest times of the last 6 years. So this year at Burning Man, I was really struck wondering, what is it about art that allows us to so profoundly connect to community? And what can be connected between that community and this community here at MIST. So this is a picture of Burning Man from outer space. And this man was the first Russian-Soviet pilot to ever see Earth from outer space. And looking back at the Earth, he said, "Orbiting Earth in the spaceship, I saw how beautiful our planet is. People, let us preserve and increase this beauty." And that was April 12th, 1961. In 1972, this image was sent back from the Apollo, and it was the first time when people were able to see the planet as a whole in one image. And this image really propelled the environmental movement forward in that it allowed for us to see that we were all on this planet. There's no escaping the extent to which there are intricate connections, and we depend on this Earth. So I went to the MIST Garden, where I knew I was sure to find a lot of people who care about the fact that we are all living on one planet and have committed themselves to a master's degree in this, and started asking them questions in semi-structured interviews about community, causes they care about, and what art had to do with it. So community. I was trying to figure out, how do people relate to community? How do people define their communities? What sorts of actions do they take with community? And what I learned was that, to a large extent, people define their communities not based on big ideas and pictures of the planet, but actually through their actions, people that they see on a regular basis, people that they work with on a regular basis. And likewise, the causes that people care about seem to be stemmed in experience, in real life experience that people have had. Not things that they've read or Facebook posts that they've seen, but actual lived experience in which they've experienced some facet of issue that they've come to care about. And insofar as art went, I asked people a lot of different questions around this, and I was not too surprised to find that people had a lot of different answers. Art is a huge term, and while everyone seemed to agree that art was important, no one really knew quite how or why. People just sort of said, we need art, right? So I think the power of an image is that it can obviously express 1,000 words. In some cases, it can express 1,000 years of history, as is the context in this iconic symbol that was used by a social movement in Oaxaca in 2006, in which an old symbol of the Virgin of the Barricade was tied to a present moment of social change. And this image also expresses 1,000 words. It's titled "Still Reeling from the Corporate Punch," and it tells the story of a woman who recently quit a 30-year career in a multi-billion-dollar corporate company to live her dream as an artist. And what I think is so powerful about this image is it really explains to me what the cost of that is, or that career cost her. And we talk a lot about like art, life, or life-work balance, and what I want to know is why we don't also talk about art organizational balance or art life balance, and how can we actually bring art in more rich forms of expression, visual, etc. into the classroom and into organizations. So when's the last time you saw a pair of scissors like this? Probably the last time you made a collage, unless you had the opportunity to participate in one of my activities for this event. But the point here is that there's a certain age after which it's not really encouraged for us to participate in self-expression. And collaging is something that I've always loved to do, and what I really like about collaging is that we get to throw away all the rules of what goes with what and what should go with what. And in doing so, we're able to actually create new landscapes, create new meanings and create new ideas than would otherwise be imagined, much like what we do with language when we're talking. So I was able to align my research interest with one of the dean's seminars, in which the goal of the seminar was to help answer the question of what are students' ideal images of the professional that they think they're trying to become, in an effort to try and look at this gap between a competent and transformative professional, right? So I led a collaging activity, and there were 3 other artistic expression activities that were part of this event. And I was really surprised to find that even I gained something really new and insightful from this activity. And this was the collage in which I am now titling Practivist, which I'd be happy to talk with you after. But in addition to the Dean's seminar, I also worked with Alfredo's organizational sustainability class, and worked with the groups over the course of the weekend to look at the organizations that they're working with and create different collages mapping the individual's identity through creative writing and collage, and then also the identity of the organizations that they're working with, and then the identity of 2 key stakeholder groups that these organizations are trying to reach out to. And through doing this visually rich activity, the groups were able to make new connections and understand how to better help their organizations in ways that they might not have been able to access had we have just asked the question, how can your organization better reach its constituents? So what I'm getting to is that art essentially is a bridge through which we can communicate, make sense of, and explore the different connections between identity, our own identities, and the identities of the people we're working with, so that we can make links between communities and between ourselves and communities, so that we can be capable and agentive actions of social change. This is an art piece I made for Burning Man this year, and it quite literally reflects the extent to which I believe our identities are a mosaic of the lived experiences that we've had, and to the extent that we can communicate and share these in organizational and personal environments is the extent to which we are capable of creating the meaningful social change in the world we want to see. Thank you for your attention.